something. Again, I've known Frank, the entrepreneur, the family man. And I've seen him grow in politics. And I've seen him stand there when he said he's transport minister, and he wasn't even brought in meetings that bureaucrats were running. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Ethics, I believe in this guy. Trustworthy, I believe in this guy. And that's why I'm saying that we all should give him the shot on September the 18th. It's your vote, it's an important vote. And also tonight, to make this happen, we all know that we can support him morally, but we also have to support him financially. And you know, I don't want tax dollars going to pay for campaigns. I think we pay enough in that. I think it's time that if we dig in and we make this happen for him, I think you're going to be well served. Anyway, before I go on and on, I'm supposed to be brief. I better pass this over to Frank Klees, the next Premier of Ontario.
So how do I follow that? Thanks a lot, Linda, for making it really, really tough on me. I want to, before I do anything else, I want to introduce my wife, Jane. The reason I wanted to introduce Jane first is that sometimes I forget. And so the last time I forgot, Jane and I had a discussion when we got home. And we said, let's work out a strategy on how we can not forget. I came up with the brilliant idea that it's going to be the first thing that I do, and you see it works. Another reason I wanted to do that is that Jane is an incredible supporter. It's been an incredibly busy life, really, since 1995. And as anyone here who's elected knows, it's not just the person whose name is on the ballot. It is the entire family that is in public service, because it doesn't matter where Jane goes in town. Someone comes up to her and says, "Aren't you Jane? I saw your picture in the paper." And then, depending on how much class the person has, they'll either tell her how much they appreciate the work her husband does, or, if they have no class, not that there are that many people in our community that don't, they'll tell her how much they don't appreciate what I'm doing. But I appreciate Jane's support and her encouragement, as I do all of yours. As I do all of yours. And Your Worship, I want to thank you for, where are you? Bill?
He left.
Back there, he's at the hors d'oeuvres. Bill, I want to thank you for your very kind introduction. And as Bill said, we do have a history. And you know, we didn't always agree on everything. But I do believe that what we both do is we want to put the people we serve first. And so it's important that we have good debate, and it's important that we have good discussion, and frankly, it's important that we have disagreements, because as we do that, better ideas are built. And as long as we do it with class, as long as we do it with respect, and that's what I so much appreciate about Bill and the good work that he's done in the town of Richmond Hill. And I consider him not only a strong and responsible mayor, but a very good friend. And I thank you, Bill, for the good work that you do. Having said that, I know that there are many councillors here as well tonight, and I appreciate the work that you do at the municipal level. Bill and I are working on this concept about creating one town, but we're not going to get into details on that. There's a nervousness that I just felt coming from many corners. Linda Leatherdale what can I say other than I thank you for being here, and as a journalist, as someone who is highly regarded and highly respected. Folks, it's not every day that you have someone stand up with the position that Linda has and is actually willing to provide an endorsement for a politician. And so I am deeply gratified for you being here and for the good work that you do and for the way that you do stand up for taxpayers. And in that sense, we have bonded over the years because we both are essentially doing public service by being willing to take on a system that everyone else seems to simply accept, that government should tax you, that government should ignore you, that government should be your master rather than your servant. And that's what I want to change. I've been privileged to serve our party for some 30 years in many capacities. Many of you know the first time I ran for public office, I was 24 years old. And I ran in southwestern Ontario, a very rural part of our province. Ran again in 1975. I didn't win in those elections, but I never refer to it as losing because I don't believe that anybody who ever runs for public office ever loses. Because it's an experience through which you grow, and it's an experience through which, even in not winning, you serve the people in your community. I stayed involved over the years in our party. I served as policy chair and worked very hard within our party to ensure that grassroots people, people like you, the hardworking people of Ontario, have an opportunity to help us develop practical policies. And I'm very proud of the Common Sense Revolution platform that, as policy chair, I had an opportunity to provide guidance in its development that won the hearts and minds of people in Ontario in 1995. And as Linda said, do you remember what Ontario was like in 1994 when Bob Rae was the Premier? Do you remember it? And you don't have good memories. They weren't sweet. And the problem that we have, folks, is that one of the best blessings that God has given us has become one of our curses. And that is the ability to forget bad things. That's the ability to forget bad things. Here's what we need to do. Folks, I'm seeking the leadership of our party because I want to change the way government is misfunctioning today. I was elected in 1995, and when I was elected in 1995, I felt that I was going to come to the legislature of Ontario and be able to represent my constituents and have the freedom to participate and express the views of my constituents and exercise that in votes. Guess what? I got there and I soon found out that there's a system at work in our democratic system that isn't quite so democratic. That there are expectations of your political party, there are expectations of the political system that when it's convenient, you can express yourself. But in most cases, you're required to toe the line. I want to change that. I want to ensure that when a member of provincial parliament is elected to the legislature of this province, that he or she will represent their constituents, that there will be free votes on every single piece of legislation that comes before the legislature of Ontario. Every single one. Now there are some of you who say you can't do that, Frank. Because at least on money bills, on budget bills, you must have a whipped vote. And I say to you, no. You heard me correctly. Every single vote in the legislature should be free. Because if you don't have the support of your own caucus, then change the legislation. I want, as leader of our party, to begin that reform of how government does business. I want, as leader of our party, to begin that within our own party. Folks, our party does have a $9.8 million deficit. It's a debt. It's a debt that our party has created over the last number of years. You know what? I, as a cabinet minister, knew nothing about that. I was talking to the treasurer of our party, the elected treasurer of our party, who said she knew nothing about the $9.8 million debt incurred by our party. Shameful. We will introduce and pass constitutional amendments within our own party that will make our party accountable and our process of doing business transparent, so that you, the elected members, are the ones who expect accountability. We're going to stop the practice of a small group of unelected, unaccountable backroom advisors running the affairs of our party. And what I want to do as leader of our party is I want us to speak to the people of Ontario in clear and concise and honest ways about the issues we face and about what it's going to take to fix those problems. And I believe when we as a party are prepared to be honest about the issues and forget about political spin, not worry about what we think people want to hear from us, but actually have the courage to tell them the truth, Hear, hear. I believe the people right across this province are going to welcome that with open arms, even if it might be a message that isn't quite as pleasant as they'd like, but they're hungering for the truth from a politician somewhere. And that's why when I launched my campaign a few weeks ago, I spoke about healthcare as the most important issue on the minds of Ontarians today, and I spoke about how I believe we as a political party have to deal with that issue. And I wanted it to be an example of how I want to deal with every single public policy issue that we face in our province. And here it is. I've got 3 more minutes. I heard the comment about short speeches. Here's how I believe we have to deal with healthcare. We have to, first of all, understand, folks, that while we do have excellent healthcare, there are many people in our province today and every single day, literally thousands of people in every community who are on waiting lists, waiting to find out what is happening in their bodies, waiting for a treatment in anxiety. And when you are committing $29.4 billion a year, almost half of the entire provincial budget, to health care, that is unacceptable. We can do better. Now here's the problem. The problem is that we continue to throw more money at this, and we have not had political leaders of any party, willing to have the courage to say what has to be said about healthcare. And that is that by the year 2030, 100% of our budget will be in the healthcare budget. 100% of the entire provincial budget will go to healthcare if we don't have the courage to fix the structural problem that we have in healthcare today. And so what is it going to take? My proposal is that we be very logical with the people of Ontario, very logical with our Prime Minister, and ask people to think about this just for 1 minute. You know, all the premiers were in Niagara-on-the-Lake 3 weeks ago. You probably read about it. They were talking about health care. I can just imagine what that meeting was like. They all agreed, by the way, that they all have the same problem. Every province, every territory, their entire healthcare system is on the verge of crisis because they can't afford to continue to put the money in that they're putting in. And they all have waiting lists that are crippling them. So the first clue should have been for all of these people that there's one common denominator to every province and every territory. And what might that be? Those of you who have heard me will know that that is the Canada Health Act. It is a 20-year-old piece of legislation that restricts every province in terms of how they deliver health care. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying let's be the political party that has the courage to say, let's put all of the options on the table to eliminate our waiting list, and if that means making amendments to the Canada Health Act, then let's do it. There isn't a politician, there isn't a leader in this country that has been prepared to actually say that. I'm saying it. And you know what? We're getting a lot of attention. Because people know it's right. And as part of that, I'm saying in addition to the 5 principles of the Canada Health Act, we have to put one more principle on the table, and that principle is called choice. Can you imagine what would happen if you really had choice in how you access your health care in this province? And now, my friends, my colleagues who are in this race with me, both Mr. Tory and Mr. Flaherty, differ with me on this issue. They disagree. They've taken the position that the Canada Health Act must be defended, and they've also taken the position that no citizen in this province should have the freedom of choice, if they choose to do so, to purchase health care on their own, if that's what they want to do. Well, I reminded them, and I'm reminding you folks, that there are only 3 countries in the world today that don't give their citizens that choice. Canada, North Korea, and Cuba. And the question that I put to my colleagues is this. I can understand Paul Martin, and I can understand Dalton McGuinty not wanting our citizens to have that choice. I don't understand my colleagues, conservatives, not wanting our citizens to have that choice. I'm prepared to lead that debate. I'm asking our party to have the courage to take on that challenge. And if we do, when we do, we will not only clear the way for sustaining our current healthcare system and ensuring that regardless of how much money or little money a person has in our province, that they will have health care accessible when and where they need it. But we will lead the way for the entire nation, because every single leader in this country knows that that is the answer. They're afraid to deal with it. We'll deal with it. And that's the nature of the kind of approach that I want to take to leadership within our party, within our province. It's a matter of speaking the truth. It's a matter of dealing with issues in a straightforward manner and simply being willing to be the servant of the people who elect us. That's what I want to bring to our party. And if you agree with me, obviously you must agree with something I say or you wouldn't be here. I'm asking you for your help over the next 2 weeks. We have a few days. It's been a great campaign. I want to share this with you. We have momentum happening every day. It doesn't matter what part of this province I'm in. Some of you are following my agenda on the email, and you know that we are crisscrossing this province every day. We have strong support in every part of this province, and it's growing by the day. We have people coming to us from the other camps. We have an individual now working at our headquarters who was on staff with one of the other candidates, and he came across and said, "Frank, what you're saying is the message that is right for Ontario. I want to join your team." We're having that kind of commitment being made every single day by people right across this province. We're attracting people because of a message of integrity and a message of being willing to deal in a straightforward manner with people in this province. So between now and the 18th of September, here's my job. I have to get in front of as many voters, those people who have their membership, as I possibly can. I have to communicate this, but I can't do that with 50,000 people. So we have to do some things within our campaign to get the message out. We have to send out material, we have to do mailings, we have to make phone calls. I need your help. If you've got some time, I need your help. Please call our campaign and say, "I've got an hour, I've got 2 hours, I'm willing to call people, I'm willing to call people within our community." If you have the ability to make a financial commitment, please do. And, you know, whether it's $1 or whether it's a little more than that, it will be helpful because it will allow us to get this message out. It's going to depend on democracy, as Linda said, is not cheap. And you know what? In order to make democracy work the way you expect it to and the way you want it to, not only for yourself, but for your kids and for future generations, it's the best investment that you will ever make. So just for your information, there are no limits to the contributions. No limits. This is a leadership campaign. I know there are people in this audience today who can underwrite the entire campaign for the next 2 weeks and it's pocket change to you, and I won't hold you out. I won't let people know who you are, folks. But I know you can do it. So I appeal to you to help. And I will not let you down. Jane won't let me. Thank you so much. I'm going to close now with just one sentence, maybe two. 2 sentences, I promise. Really, actually, this is it. But the reason I'm going to do this is because Linda made reference to something that I think is grating so many of us, and that is we say, who really is in control of government? Who really is in control of government? I'm running for the leadership, folks, because I found out who controls government. And it's not your elected members. It is unelected people. And I made reference to the fact that we're going to get rid of the advisors in the back room. Those people will not be. Those people will not be part of my administration. Oh, we'll take advice from people, but we're going to make the final decisions, not them. And those people who let our party astray over the last few years, we're going to clean house. They won't be there. And that's at the political level. Now let me talk about the government level. Let me tell you who runs the shop there, folks. Bureaucrats. Let me tell you, under my administration, the first step that I will take as Premier is to demand the resignation of every Deputy Minister in every ministry of the government. And then we're going to re-interview them. But you know who's going to interview them? The Minister and the Premier. And you say, but doesn't that happen? No, it doesn't happen, folks. Let me reveal something to you. The Minister never has the opportunity to choose his or her deputy. We're going to change that too. And, you know what? If those deputies aren't committed to the agenda with which we were elected, I'm happy to pay their severance because it will be the best investment our government will make. So if you believe in that kind of government, I ask for your support. And the guy back over there, if he writes that check, we can get all this work done. Now, see, he's not making eye contact with me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Wow, isn't that the kind of guy you want to vote for? Here, here. Integrity, it couldn't come fast enough. And you know what? I think we also should have a Transparency Act, and I'm sure I'll work on this with Frank, that all the books will be open before an election so we know where we stand. Absolutely. Anyway, Frank, well done, and boy, as I say, ethics, honesty, integrity, I think you got it all there, my friends, and a strong leader. Again, Frank mentioned that they are passing around, or they already have, Friends of Frank Klees, little pledge buckets. Please, please support. There's also a bucket at the desk on the way out. Any support would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And coming to think of, you know, where the other leaders stand, just to let you know, for my readers, I've asked some key questions on some key points. We're going to be publishing them in the Toronto Sun when I get, I'm on vacation right now. You know, that's how much I love Frank. I'm here on vacation. It's my husband's birthday. He's at home delivering an frigid stove. And you know what else ticks me off? They took away the energy efficiency PST rebate. But I got mine on time. Anyway, again, I'm asking for your support on this. We're going to have some entertainment. Please stay around. Talk to Frank, talk to Jane, talk to the Friends of Frank Klees, and do give your support. And